China is home to sacred and majestic mountains stretching from western plateaus to eastern plains. Many peaks are considered spiritual origins, hiding monks and ancient legends within their slopes. Some mountains rise straight into the sky, wrapped in mist year-round, while others reveal vertical cliffs and winding trails like ink paintings. From Taoist and Buddhist sanctuaries to colorful geological parks, each mountain forms a distinct world, preserving history, culture, and timeless natural beauty. Now, let's explore the most remarkable mountains China has ever concealed. Mount Hua, China. Not for the faint of heart, Mount Hua stands like a giant granite axe blade splitting the sky, where courage is measured by every breath beside the abyss. Located at an altitude of 7,070 feet, this sacred mountain, representing the West, possesses 90-degree vertical cliffs flattened by intense geological faults from millions of years ago. On unbelievably narrow ledges, ancient temples from the Tang and Song dynasties still stand perched amidst the clouds, challenging all laws of physics. Travelers face extreme fear when moving on rock ledges only 1 foot wide, where the boundary between life and nothingness is just a hand span away. As sunset falls, the entire cliff reflects brilliant light, making the giant stone block look as if it were cast in solid gold, floating in a sea of white clouds. To touch this summit, you need 6 to 9 hours of arduous hiking to overcome exhaustion and find absolute peace in mid-air. Hukou Waterfall, China. Shattering all limits of dreamy, crystal-clear water ribbons, this monster roaring and boiling a massive block of muddy lava is the only and greatest yellow waterfall on the planet. Likened to the violent heartbeat of the Yellow River, the vast 984-foot riverbed is suddenly and ruthlessly choked into a steep rocky crevice, narrowed down to only 65 to 98 feet. This life-or-death fracture forces the water mass to plunge into a 98-foot deep abyss, creating a terrifying, natural meat grinder with a peak flow rate reaching 282,000 cubic feet per second. The terrifying impact shattering at the bottom of the abyss shoots columns of water 164 feet straight up into the sky, creating the famous smoking water phenomenon that thrills the vision. Under the harsh sunlight, the thick muddy mist weaves brilliant rainbows across the roaring waterfall, bringing a perfectly contrasting beauty between violence and poetry. This treacherous abyss is also the origin of the great legend, where any carp swimming upstream and leaping over the waterfall's mouth will immediately turn into a sacred dragon soaring into the sky. Furong Ancient Town, China. Furong Ancient Town is built as if it hangs over a waterfall, clinging to a steep cliff instead of flat ground, with more than 2,000 years of history and once serving as a major trading center in the region. The town center is split by a natural two-tier waterfall, about 131 feet wide, with a vertical drop of about 196 feet, pouring into a deep river day and night. Traditional wooden stilt houses stand along the cliff without iron nails, using complex wooden joints anchored into the reversed slope for stability. More than 5 miles of smooth blue stone streets twist and rise with the sharp mountain gradient, leaving almost no truly flat surface. A carved walkway runs directly behind the curtain of water, allowing visitors to pass through darkness and roaring spray inside the town. when tens of thousands of red lanterns glow at night and create a magical scene like the film Spirited Away, the thunder of the waterfall becomes a calm white noise that gently lulls local residents to sleep. Located south of Huayin City in Shanxi Province, Mount Hua is one of China's 5 great mountains, known for its steep terrain and perilous cliffside paths. The mountain features 5 main peaks, with the tallest reaching approximately 7,070 foot, forming a dramatic skyline visible from miles away. Geologically, Mount Hua consists primarily of granite, with vertical cracks and sheer rock faces formed through millions of years of tectonic activity. Throughout history, the mountain served as a retreat for Taoist hermits and reclusive scholars, enriching its cultural legacy. Steep stone steps and narrow wooden bridges clinging to rock walls showcase human courage and adaptability amid harsh, natural conditions. With steep gradients and rapidly shifting weather, climbing Mount Hua demands endurance, focus, and determination. More than a scenic attraction, this mountain is a symbol of challenge and inner strength, drawing adventurers seeking to test their limits. Shan Plank Walk runs along sheer granite cliffs in China as a narrow wooden pathway anchored directly into vertical rock faces. The route lies above 6,500 feet in elevation, where tectonic uplift and long-term erosion created near vertical mountain walls. Wooden planks are secured into drilled rock sockets, transferring load to the solid granite foundation. With its exposed construction and direct attachment to bedrock, Shan Plank Walk serves as a clear reference for studying human access solutions in steep alpine terrain. Mount Kailash rises in western China as an isolated high mountain with a near-symmetrical granite profile shaped by tectonic uplift. The peak reaches an elevation of about 270 feet, standing above surrounding terrain that eroded at a slower rate. Resistant igneous and metamorphic rock preserves steep faces and sharp ridgelines over long periods. Glacial valleys and erosion channels around the base record repeated freeze-thaw and ice-driven removal of material. With its exposed structure and clear geomorphic processes, Mount Kailash serves as a strong reference for studying high mountain evolution and uplift-erosion balance. Fanjing, Shan, China. Splitting the rolling sea of clouds at 8,438 feet, this mountain stands like Earth's finger pointing directly at the galaxy, over 1,400,000,000 years old. Recognized by UNESCO as the most isolated metamorphic island on the planet, this wonder carries fossils older than even the majestic Himalayas. Upon two vertical stone peaks, split by a deep abyss, sit two ancient temples from the Ming dynasty, challenging all laws of physics for 5 centuries. To connect these two spiritual worlds, a narrow stone bridge is perched across the chasm at over 8,200 feet, creating an overwhelming sight of suspension. The journey to reach the Bodhimanda of Maitreya Buddha forces travelers to overcome 8,888 steep stone steps, an ascetic challenge to cleanse the soul. At the holiest peak among China's 5 Buddhist sacred sites, the boundary between reality and the Pure Land seems to vanish completely amidst the white clouds. K2, Pakistan-China border. Rising like a sharp pyramid of rock and ice, stabbing into the sky at about 28,251 feet. This mountain is the second highest on Earth, yet it also stands as one of the coldest symbols of brutality in mountaineering. Its death rate was once so terrifying that about 1 out of every 4 climbers who reached the summit never returned, which is why many have long seen it as even harsher and harder than Everest. Unlike many peaks with easier approach slopes, every route upward is brutally steep, forcing climbers to master the highest level of mountain skill. Around the summit, giant lenticular clouds often appear like warning signs of violent winds that can exceed 124 miles per hour, strong enough to throw a human body off the mountain. Near the top, the most feared section is a narrow and steep ice gully lying directly below a massive hanging serac, where tens of thousands of tons of snow and ice can collapse at any moment. It was so savage that only in 2021 did K2 become the last mountain above 8,000 meters ever climbed in winter, closing one of the harshest challenges on Earth. Mount Everest, Nepal/China. Stretching across the border of Nepal and China, nature's greatest icon rises to about 29,032 feet, the highest point on Earth, and it is still being pushed upward by tectonic force. The spectacular smoke blowing from the summit is actually deadly jet stream wind tearing across the peak at speeds up to 177 miles per hour. Temperatures here can plunge to minus 76 degrees Fahrenheit, a brutal cold capable of freezing exposed eyes and destroying unprotected fingers in moments. The mountain slopes are wrapped in a chaos of glaciers, grinding against each other, hiding deep crevasses ready to swallow anything forever. The final approach becomes a knife edge of ice only as wide as a footstep, where one slip can mean a free fall beside a drop of about 9,843 feet. This deadly playground of the wealthy can cost between $45,000 and $160,000, while burning about 20,000 calories and stripping away roughly 22 to 33 pounds of body weight along the way. Zhangjiajie Glass Bridge, China. Stepping out from the surreal frames of planet Pandora, this superstructure spans between sandstone pillars as high as 3,500 feet, like an invisible stroke in mid-air. With 100% transparent glass flooring, each of your steps is a direct confrontation with the deep abyss right under your shoes. The safety of the sturdy glass is astonishing, having challenged direct sledgehammer hits and 2-ton cars full of people driving over without any budge. On both sides of the bridge are 90-degree vertical cliffs where life resiliently clings to rocky crevices, creating a dramatic suspended ecosystem. As sunset falls, sunlight pierces through the glass and refracts into the canyon, turning the entire space into a surreal golden cinematic dream. This is also home to the world's highest bungee jump, ready to swallow daring souls into a free fall of nearly 1,000 feet in the heart of the canyon. Located in the southwestern region of Sichuan province, Wawu Mountain is a vast limestone plateau with an unusually flat summit, standing out amid rugged mountainous surroundings. Shaped like an inverted roof tile, the mountain's name, Wawu, directly reflects its distinctive form. At approximately 9,280 feet above sea level, it is often described as a green oasis, wrapped in clouds throughout the year. The mountain is renowned for its dense, ancient forest cover and unique weather phenomena such as stratified cloud seas and optical rainbows. With an average annual temperature of about 50-40, it provides optimal conditions for the growth of endemic plant and animal species. The combination of flat highland terrain, moderate climate, and rich biodiversity makes it a one-of-a-kind destination for for nature lovers and science explorers alike. Located at the southern edge of the Yangtze River, Mount Lu is one of the most prominent granite mountain ranges in eastern China, renowned for its steep terrain, towering cliffs, and year-round cool climate. Its highest peak, Hanyang, rises to about 4,840 feet, offering expansive views and a prime vantage point over Jiangxi province. The mountain features a unique geological structure, with ancient sedimentary layers interlaced with metamorphic rocks, forming deep valleys and dramatic vertical rock faces. The climate here is characterized by subtropical highland conditions, with dense fog occurring frequently throughout the year, enhancing the visual prominence of the mountain ridges. From a geographical and tourism perspective, Mount Lu represents a harmonious blend of distinctive natural landscapes and defined geological and climatic values, making it a remarkable destination for those drawn to rugged terrain and fresh mountain air. Located in the northwest of Gansu Province, China, Zhangye Danxia landform is a rare geological phenomenon characterized by vast stretches of vividly colored mountains that resemble a colossal abstract painting. Its formation began around 24 million years ago through the accumulation of red sandstone and minerals, later compressed and folded by intense tectonic forces. These mountain ridges display alternating layers of red, orange, yellow and grey, reflecting sunlight differently throughout the day to produce a stunning visual effect. The terrain consists mainly of sloping ridges and vertical cliffs with an average elevation of approximately 1,640 feet, highlighting clearly stratified horizontal layers. Variations in the durability of different rock and soil layers lead to differential erosion and weathering, creating distinct and unusual formations found nowhere else on Earth. Zhangye Danxia is not only a popular tourist destination, but also a valuable subject of study in geology and environmental science. Mount Jinfo, located in southern Chongqing, is one of China's most striking limestone mountains, known for its well-preserved primary forests and towering karst formations. The average elevation reaches around 7,200 feet, with its highest peak nearing 7,380 feet, forming steep cliffs and layered forest canopies. Its humid subtropical climate, combined with a sharply dissected terrain, supports over 5,000 species of flora and fauna, many of which are endemic and endangered. The area features massive vertical rock faces and deep natural caves, creating a monumental landscape seemingly carved by the earth itself. Recognized by UNESCO as a World Biosphere Reserve, Mount Jinfo holds significant geological importance. Its pristine ecosystems and complex formations make it not only a haven for nature enthusiasts, but also a living natural museum of geological evolution. Wulingyuan is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, renowned for its breathtaking sandstone formations, where over 3,000 stone pillars and peaks rise sharply into the sky, with the tallest reaching about 1,150 feet, comparable to a modern skyscraper. Each rock formation here possesses unique shapes, creating a spectacular natural canvas that resembles a colossal labyrinth of stone and greenery, with deep gorges winding through the rugged terrain. This area spans more than 102 square miles, blanketed by a rich forest ecosystem housing over 3,000 plant species, including many rare species native to China. The unique topography also features vertical rock walls and deep canyons, with many cliffs towering several hundred feet high, forming a landscape that appears almost impenetrable. Wulingyuan has a humid subtropical climate that often shrouds the landscape in mist year-round, transforming the mountain scenery into a surreal realm with clouds suspended at varying heights. Wulingyuan is not only a geological wonder, but also a natural laboratory for studying biological evolution and geological phenomena, attracting scientists, photographers, and tourists from all over the world. Located in the western part of Hubei Province, China, Mount Wudang stands out as an ancient center of both Buddhism and Taoism, with a history spanning thousands of years. It is the birthplace of internal Chinese martial arts and the cradle of the Tai Chi school, associated with profound philosophies of balance and harmony. The mountain averages about 4,265 feet in elevation, with its highest peak reaching nearly 5,282 feet, offering breathtaking panoramic views of vast forested terrain. Its ecosystem is especially diverse, home to over 600 plant species and hundreds of endemic animals preserved in pristine natural conditions. Ancient stone architecture, curved tile roofs, and intricately carved wooden pillars reflect a seamless blend of traditional Chinese building techniques and philosophical thought. For centuries, Mount Wudang served as a sanctuary for Taoist priests who helped spread Eastern cultural and medicinal practices throughout Asia. With its exceptional historical and cultural value, Mount Wudang has been recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, making it a must-visit for anyone interested in Eastern philosophy and traditional martial arts. Located in Shaanxi Province, Mount Heng North is one of the 5 sacred mountains of ancient China, known for its towering cliffs and multi-layered ecosystems. At approximately 16,617 feet high, the summit is often wrapped in mist, creating a visually striking and dramatic atmosphere. Its limestone ridges, hundreds of millions of years old, have been sculpted by tectonic forces and erosion into surreal and fascinating shapes. The region's deep gorges and caves, formed over geological timescales, offer unique insights into ancient rock formations and sediment layers. It's an ideal destination for those intrigued by geology, ecology, and the wild, structured beauty of northern China's mountains. Located in Shandong Province, China, Mount Tai is one of the most sacred and prominent mountains in Chinese culture. The mountain stands at approximately 5070 feet or 1545 meters, symbolizing endurance and authority. Its unique geological formations and majestic silhouette make it a magnet for both tourists and researchers. As visitors ascend to the summit, they pass thousands of stone steps hand-carved into the cliffs, weaving through green-covered slopes and sheer rock faces. Mount Tai was historically chosen by ancient Chinese emperors as a site for heavenly worship, reinforcing its role at the heart of spiritual traditions. With a history spanning thousands of years and imposing scenery, Mount Tai is where nature and tradition blend into one powerful space. Located in southern Anhui Province, China, Zhuhua Mountain is one of the 4 most renowned Buddhist mountains in the country, known for its ancient architecture and vast mountainous scenery. Its landscape offers a striking blend of rugged peaks, dense forests, and misty surroundings, crafting a setting that feels both grand and serene. The mountain's highest peak rises to about 4,400 feet for American audiences, offering dramatic panoramic views across the surrounding region. With a history spanning over 1,000 years, Zhuhua Mountain is a vivid testament to the deep relationship between culture, faith, and nature. Located on the western edge of the Lushan mountain range, the West Sea area is characterized by steep cliffs and deep valleys interwoven with dense green forests. The landscape here was shaped by millions of years of tectonic movement, creating towering granite walls and narrow gorges. One of its most iconic features is the slow-moving clouds that drift along the mountainsides, giving the impression of a vast sea of mist. West Sea also hosts diverse vegetation, including ancient gymnosperms and mosses thriving in its humid and rapidly shifting climate. With an average elevation of about 300 feet, visitors can enjoy sweeping views of the layered mountain ranges of Lushan, especially on clear days when sunlight filters through clouds. Beyond its natural beauty, West Sea stands as a vivid record of the Earth's tectonic evolution in southeastern China. Located in Zhangjiajie, Tianmen Mountain is a natural wonder renowned for its imposing limestone landscapes and the pristine forest ecosystem covering its sheer cliffs. The cableway system here is recorded as the longest in the world, stretching 7,455 meters, taking visitors from the mountain's foot to its summit in a breathtaking aerial journey. Most famous is the Heaven's Gate, a massive natural arch measuring about 430 feet high, nearly 98 feet wide, and 230 feet deep, formed after a rock collapse thousands of years ago. The so-called 99 Bends Road features consecutive sharp turns that deliver an intense thrill, especially as vehicles ascend tightly along the mountain's slopes. Visitors are also captivated by the glass walkway, roughly 2 inches thick, clinging to the cliff, offering an adrenaline-charged experience at nearly 4,690 feet above ground. Tianmen is not merely a destination for scenic appreciation, but a place that challenges personal limits with its unique transport structures and stunning vistas. Mount Everest, Nepal/China. Nowhere on Earth pushes human beings closer to the sky than Everest, a peak about 29,032 feet high that has become the ultimate symbol of ambition, glory, and the limits of survival. Even as the roof of the planet, this mountain is still rising by about 0.2 inches each year because tectonic plates continue to collide and force it upward. What makes it even stranger is that the summit is built from sedimentary limestone filled with ancient marine fossils, proving that the highest place on Earth once lay under the sea about 450 million years ago. At that altitude, the air is so thin that every step feels like running a marathon while breathing through a straw, and a sudden storm or gust of wind can take a life within minutes. Humans did not truly stand on the summit until 1953, yet the price has always been severe, with more than 300 bodies still lying on the slopes like cold markers of ambition. Beside all that glory is a quieter disaster, because about 50 tons of trash, including abandoned oxygen bottles, broken tents, and human waste, have turned Everest into a place of pollution at extreme altitude. Majestically located in the Qionglai Range of Sichuan, China, Mount Sigunyang stands out like a giant rock wall intricately carved over millions of years of geological formation. Its four peaks, with the highest reaching around 2,505 feet, soar straight into the sky, forming a rugged landscape covered in perpetual snow and attracting enthusiasts of technical climbing. The terrain here blends sheer rock faces, slopes draped in ancient forests, and deep valleys, creating a spectacular natural stage not to be missed. Temperatures at the summit often drop below freezing even during summer, transforming this place into a frozen realm with strong winds and thin air that tests any adventurer's endurance. Light striking the mountain slopes each morning, or sunset, reflects off the white snow, producing vibrant orange and golden bands that contrast sharply against the deep blue of the plateau sky. Moreover, the region's flora and fauna are rich, including many rare species like the giant panda and the snow leopard, adding significant biological value to this area. Mount Segunyang is not merely a mountain, but a vivid testament to nature's power and a compelling challenge for anyone longing to conquer Earth's majestic heights. Mati Temple Grottos, China. Breaking all norms of a sturdy constructed building, this spiritual complex is a massive system hollowed out directly into a vertical red sandstone cliff. Perched at an altitude of 8,200 to 9,186 feet, this precarious wonder leans right against the edge of eternal snow and ice peaks. Diligently created by dozens of generations of stonemasons 1,600 years ago, this magnificent horsehoof name originates from the legend of a heavenly horse descending to leave a permanent hoofprint on the cliff. Crossing all boundaries, this place became a rare sanctuary in the world, featuring a brilliant blend of Tibetan Buddhism and Han Buddhism within the same cave system. To reach the highest pagoda levels hidden inside the mountain core, travelers cannot walk upright but must crawl close to the ground, clinging with all four limbs to sweat-soaked, near-vertical stone steps. Despite its magnificent beauty, the soft sandstone material that made carving easy turns this suspended wonder into a conservation nightmare against the terrifying weathering speed of the mountain winds. Kalajin Grassland, China. Completely erasing the definition of flatness, this wonder is a three-dimensional grassland suspended on the Tianshan Mountains at an altitude of 6,500 to 11,800 feet. Spreading over 1,100 square miles, the prairie surface rolls with continuous undulating geological folds from fierce, ancient tectonic faults. The endless green carpet is suddenly torn by canyons thousands of feet deep, perfectly displaying four spectacular ecological layers from snow peaks to jade rivers. Under the slanting sunlight, the hills cast shadows that create smooth, graceful curves exactly like a masterpiece sculpture of the human body by nature. In early summer, the grass bursts brilliantly with over 100 wildflower species blooming into 5 successive waves of color, reaching out to the horizon. This place was also the source of the blood-sweating, heavenly horses, a treasure that ancient emperors defied all bloody wars to possess. Qiantang Lake, China. Far from a typical lake, this man-made wonder is a giant green labyrinth where over 1,000 islands bob like scattered jade pieces in a freshwater ocean. With 1,078 islands across 221 square miles, It has the world's densest island concentration with a forest cover ratio of over 90%. The water here is so pure, it meets direct drinking standards on the spot, serving as a precious supply for the nation's leading bottled water brand. However, the most striking secret lies at a depth of 131 feet, where two 1,800-year-old ancient cities still sleep intact like an eastern Atlantis. To create this magnificent beauty, more than 290,000 people had to abandon their homeland, leaving all memories and houses beneath the cold deep. Qiantang Lake is a testament to the trade-off between industrial progress and historical preservation, where a brilliant present reigns directly upon the foundation of the past. Mount Kailash, Tibet, China. More than just a simple stone peak, Mount Kailash is the untouchable axis of the universe at an altitude of 21,778 feet, where no human footprint has ever reached the sacred summit. This convergence point of four major religions bears chilling coordinates, being exactly 4,142 miles away from both Stonehenge and the North Pole, creating a mysterious mathematical coincidence. Upon the dark grey cliffs, nature has skillfully carved a massive staircase leading to heaven, alongside an eternal swastika symbol appearing clearly under the sunset. At the foot of the mountain, the balance of the universe is revealed through two lakes sitting side by side, where one remains sweet and still, while the other rages with salty waves. Transcending all physical limits, completing 108 pilgrimage circuits around the sacred mountain is believed to be the only key to helping humans reach the realm of ultimate enlightenment. Emerald Lake, China. Instead of a freshwater lake hidden in deep forests, Emerald Lake is a surreal masterpiece molded from the intersection of human hands and desert geology. Formerly scars from an industrial salt mining area, it accumulated extremely high concentrations of potassium and lithium to create a green hue so brilliant it seems absurd. Reigning at an altitude of 10,328 feet, the thin air of the plateau allows light to penetrate powerfully, igniting watercolors like scattered pieces of broken jade. With extreme salinity making it impossible for any creature to survive, the lake's surface becomes a world of absolute silence, perfectly reflecting the solitude of the wilderness. Pure white salt paths running through the heart of the lake are actually sturdy, crystallized artificial dams, separating hundreds of small ponds like a jade mosaic carpet. Under the scorching sun, light refraction through the salt layers creates surreal mirages that make salt flowers at the bottom of the deep lake appear as if they are floating in mid-air. Namtso Lake, Tibet, China. Known as the sea on top of the sky, this wonder is not just a simple body of water, but a place where the human soul can touch the absolute purity of the universe. At an altitude of 15,479 feet, this highest salt lake in the world is a sacred pilgrimage site, helping travelers cleanse their karma through every step around its shore. Spreading over 741 square miles with a depth of up to 394 feet, the deep blue lake is like a 40-floor building submerged under thick sapphire water. On windless days, the still water reflects the great snow mountains with absolute precision, completely blurring all boundaries of the horizon. Its wild beauty is evident through places of worship hidden within natural limestone cliffs and the silhouettes of snow-white yaks dotting the lake shore. However, this stargazing paradise is also harsh, as low oxygen levels and intense ultraviolet rays can burn skin in just 30 minutes. Chaka Salt Lake, China. Completely obliterating the boundary between earth and heaven, this wonder is not a modern glass tower, but a giant salt basin located at an altitude of 10,036 feet. At an altitude of over 10,000 feet, extremely low air pressure keeps the water surface abnormally still, turning an area of 41 square miles into an absolute and pure reflective mirror. With a massive reserve of 496 million tons of salt, this white gold mine is sufficient to provide seasoning for billions of consumers for the next 75 years. In the heart of the lake appear magnificent sculptures carved from solid salt, impermanent architectural works that constantly melt and transform under the influence of rain and wind. When night falls, the lake surface turns into a grand lens, reflecting the entire Milky Way, making you feel as if you are floating in the center of billions of stars surrounding you. However, this beauty carries high damage as the white salt reflects 90% of ultraviolet rays, causing tourists to suffer sunburn twice as fast as in normal environments. Panjin Red Beach, China. Named a beach but possessing no sand, this wonder is actually a biological sea of fire, burning brilliantly right in the heart of the deep blue ocean. This deep red hue is woven from the Suaita salsa plant, a strange organism that uses the toxic salt concentration of the soil as life sap to shine brilliantly. Accumulated by silt from China's fourth largest river, this wetland of over 64,247 acres serves as a colossal chemical map indicating the alkalinity of the ground. To preserve the fragile velvet carpet, a wooden bridge system over 6,562 feet long is erected on deep pillars, allowing humans to glide over the mudflats without causing any harm. The scenery becomes even more surreal as extremely rare, red-crowned cranes with only about 2,500 individuals left globally soar over the vivid red background like a living ink wash painting. However, this moment of glory only exists for a brief 3 weeks each year before transforming back into a dull and grey mudflat. Crescent Moon, Spring, China. Challenging the harshest laws of the desert, Crescent Moon Spring embodies a razor-sharp jade stroke from the sky thrust straight into the hot sand for over 2,000 years. Its role was once a vital stop on the ancient Silk Road, providing precious water sources that helped travelers cross the boundary between life and death. This survival mystery lies in the surrounding dunes, towering 820 feet high, creating reverse updrafts that constantly blow sand to the hilltops to protect the 328-foot-long lake. Not originating from rainwater, the lake's lifeblood is nourished by an underground river flowing through pebble layers from snow mountains hundreds of miles away. Once on the brink of obliteration, when the water hit rock bottom at only 3 feet in the 1990s, this wonder resiliently revived to witness the sight of traffic jams caused by thousands of camels every day. Right beside the cold emerald water, the ancient pavilion complex stands firm against skin-tearing sandstorms thanks to mortise and tenon joinery using not a single iron nail. Wangxian Valley, China. Wangxian Valley looks like a fantasy world brought into real life, with clusters of houses gripping a cliff as if gravity does not apply. It was once a damaged granite quarry with heavy pollution. Then nearly $400 million were invested, and the site was restored for 10 straight years. The buildings take ideas from stilt homes that have no ground foundation, because massive steel anchors are drilled into the mountain and disguised with traditional wooden joint design. To create an old and natural look, builders avoid paint and use rammed earth methods, mixing local yellow soil with straw and covering the suspended frames. From the valley floor, thousands of gray tile roofs stack like giant bird nests, making the place feel like a hanging city. At night, warm lantern light fills the mist, and staying on a cliff-edge room with strong wind and waterfall noise can cost far more than luxury hotels on the lowlands. Tree of Earth, Tibet, China. Bearing a magnificent paradox where the barren desert plateau at an altitude of 14,764 feet rejects all seeds of life, Mother Earth uses her own erosion wounds to sculpt a giant tree of earth. Instead of sprouting from seeds, this masterpiece has been torn apart for tens of thousands of years by the ruthless power of turbulent currents from melting ice and snow. The drainage network obeys a chilling fractal geometry ratio, carving roots 15 to 30 feet deep straight into the permafrost layer. Far beyond the design limits of any supercomputer, these blood-red tinged crevices were once told in ancient legends as the claw marks of a divine dragon or the blood of the creator. When winter's white snow fills the concave trenches, the tree transforms brilliantly into a pure white structure, glowing jaggedly against the pitch-black, desolate ground. Although creating greatness, the water current is a cold-blooded artist, constantly changing direction after every storm to tear away and ensure this masterpiece never repeats its old form. Qiantang River. Rising like a monster, this river carries the world's largest tidal bore, incarnating into a silver dragon surging with destructive power from the deep sea to pounce on the mainland. This wrath is born from a topographical funnel, where a 62-mile-wide estuary is disastrously squeezed down to just 2 miles deep inland, amplifying its ruthless power. When millions of tons of water slam into the embankments, the massive reaction force hurls them into the sky, creating terrifying water bomb explosions up to 100 feet high. At the shoals, the ferocious current is torn in half and then slams into itself, forming a giant X shape that crushes everything caught in its epicenter. To protect their lives, the ancients used iron tenons to piece together massive stone blocks into a grand seawall system, considered as solid as the ancient Great Wall. Today, modern barriers must absolutely not be built flat, but must have a jagged or stepped shape to tear apart the water mass, because a vertical levee would be smashed to pieces instantly. Tengge Desert, China. In the middle of a vast sea of golden sand, the Tengge Desert protects more than 400 deep blue lakes like islands of life in a dry world. Covering about 16,600 square miles, it is the fourth largest desert in China and stretches across 3 major administrative regions. Around these lakes grow bright green grass and shrubs, forming a sharp boundary between intense life and dry, barren land. Many crescent-shaped dunes rise up to about 650 feet high, looking like giant ocean waves frozen by the wind. In ancient times, this area formed part of a major trade corridor where caravans risked extreme conditions to cross the sands. To stop the movement of sand, people built large straw grid systems across thousands of acres, creating an ecological structure that protects key transportation routes. Zhangjiajie, China. Instead of an ocean, Zhangjiajie forms its own world of blue colors among ancient limestone mountains in China. The waterfalls do not crash straight down, but flow gently over natural limestone terraces, creating wide and soft layers of water. The lakes shift from emerald to sapphire and deep green within a small area, depending on light and depth. Fallen trees do not rot because minerals cover them, turning the wood into pale structures resting beneath the clear water. Its surreal beauty has made it a filming location for famous Chinese movies. However, because of high mineral levels, the water cannot be drunk directly, and almost no fish survive in the main lakes. On the vast Qinghai Plateau, Chaka Salt Lake emerges like a giant mirror, reflecting the blue sky and drifting clouds, creating a scene that feels like an endless expanse stretching to the horizon. This salt lake spans around 41 square miles, covered by a thin layer of clear water, perfectly mirroring visitors standing on its surface, and earning it the nickname Mirror of the Sky. The salinity here is remarkably high, forming a crust of white salt crystals that glisten under sunlight and become solid enough for people to walk on during the dry season. The climate is dry and sunny, with summer temperatures averaging about 59 degrees, providing favorable conditions for industrial salt extraction that has continued for over 1,000 years. A railway line stretches straight into the lake, serving salt transportation and creating a distinctive landscape unlike other salt lakes in China. Chaka's colors constantly shift from turquoise to deep blue, depending on how light reflects and how thick the salt crust lies underneath, showcasing the lake's natural beauty without any artificial intervention. Therefore, Chaka Salt Lake is not only an important mineral resource, but also a tourist attraction drawing countless visitors eager to witness one of China's most spectacular natural wonders. Mogao Caves, China. Buried in the barren desert, the Mogao Caves are a brilliant artistic universe and humanity's greatest visual encyclopedia, painted continuously for 1,000 years. Viewed from the outside, the cliff face, nearly 1 mile long, is crisscrossed with hundreds of dark holes stacked together exactly like a giant honeycomb rooted in the sea of sand. Hidden deep inside are over 484,376 square feet of murals and 2,000 clay statues, enough to form a gallery stretching nearly 30 miles. Due to the crumbly gravel walls, the ancients had to drive wooden stakes and wrap straw as skeletal frames before applying clay to shape the lifelike statues defying time. This magnificent beauty is adorned with expensive, crushed mineral powders like cinnabar red or lapis lazuli blue, whose value far exceeded solid gold. Stepping into the narrow space engulfed in strict darkness to look up at the 114-foot Buddha statue, travelers will be completely subdued by a deeply reverent visual pressure. Guilin Karst spreads across southern China as a classic limestone karst landscape defined by dense clusters of steep-sided towers rising from low plains. The terrain formed as carbon-rich rainwater dissolved carbonate bedrock over long periods, leaving isolated rock pillars. Many karst towers reach heights of around 1,000 feet, showing dominant vertical erosion and rounded summits. Low basins and narrow valleys between towers reflect combined surface and underground drainage development. With its high tower density and active dissolution processes, Guilin Karst serves as a clear reference for studying limestone karst evolution and water-rock interaction. Jiuzhaigou Valley unfolds as a high-altitude mountain valley in southwestern China, where layered terrain, lakes, and waterfalls develop through long-term geological and hydrological processes. The area sits at an average elevation of about 6,500 feet, featuring a chain of stepped lakes connected by short streams that display shifting watercolors caused by mineral content, depth variation, and lakebed structure. Natural travertine deposits form biological dams that regulate water flow and maintain stable lake levels throughout the year. A cool mountain climate, combined with dense forest cover, preserves exceptional water clarity while reducing surface erosion. Through the interaction of geology, freshwater systems, and vegetation, Zhangjiajie Valley serves as a clear reference site for studying alpine ecosystem dynamics and freshwater landscape formation. The Shan Giant Buddha. Standing about 233 feet tall, it was begun in the 8th century during the Tang dynasty and took nearly 90 years to complete. A concealed element lies within its structure, an internal water channel network built by Bond to divert rainwater and preserve stability for over 1,000 years. Today, the Leshan Giant Buddha stands as both a spiritual landmark and a remarkable example of ancient engineering and sustainable design. Huanglong Valley. Set over 9,800 feet above sea level in Sichuan's Minshan Mountains, Huanglong Valley is known for its colorful terraces of mineral-rich pools cascading across white limestone. Over thousands of years, flowing water has deposited calcium carbonate, forming hundreds of pools that shimmer in shades of blue, gold, and emerald, depending on sunlight. The high-altitude climate preserves the clarity of the water, which mirrors the surrounding pine forests and sky, earning Huanglong the name the Heavenly Valley on Earth. A hidden element lies beneath the surface, a network of underground streams that feed minerals upward, maintaining the valley's vivid palette throughout the year. Huanglong stands as a living harmony of geology, water, and time, a natural masterpiece sculpted over millennia. Hukou Village, China. Hukou Village shows what happens when nature slowly takes back a human settlement and turns it into a sea of green vines and thick leaves. In the 1980s, it was a prosperous fishing community with more than 3,000 residents and solid 3-story brick houses filled with daily life. From the 1990s to the early 2000s, families moved away step by step because the steep terrain made schooling and food transport difficult. There was no war or natural disaster, and the decline happened quietly over nearly a decade until the village stood empty. Narrow alleys and long stone stairways are blocked by roots and ferns, leaving a powerful vision of how the earth might look without human presence. Wangshan Valley. Located in southern China, Wangshan Valley is a geological formation shaped over millions of years by limestone erosion and tectonic shifts. It features vertical cliffs, waterfalls several hundred feet high, and dense forests covering the surrounding slopes, creating a rare, self-contained ecosystem. Streams run throughout the year through narrow gorges, forming an underground water network that scientists continue to study. A hidden element lies beneath the valley, a network of subterranean caves believed to hold rare minerals and traces of ancient geological layers. In its silence, Wangshan Valley stands as a destination for geological, climatic, and biological research, and as proof of nature's creative force through time. Shishapangma, China. It does not appear like an ordinary mountain, but like a giant frozen fortress, where life and death stand only a breath apart. It is the 14th highest peak on Earth, and near the summit, the oxygen level drops to about 1/3 of sea level, turning every step into a real battle for the human body. Around it lie glaciers hundreds of feet thick that never truly rest, slowly moving and opening bottomless crevasses, ready to swallow anything without warning. Winds here can exceed 100 miles per hour, carving rock and ice into razor-sharp forms that make the whole mountain look like a monument shaped by storms. Its northern face rises as a wall of rock and ice thousands of feet high, while clouds often pour over the summit like a giant white waterfall falling from the sky. With snow famous for its terrible instability and avalanches powerful enough to erase entire climbing teams, this peak stands as one of nature's most frightening displays of power. Lupu Bridge, China. When it first opened, this $300 million steel megastructure held the world record for the longest steel arch bridge, crossing the river with a main span of about 1,805 feet and no support pier in the water. What drew the strongest attention from engineers was that its main arch was not joined by bolts or rivets, but became the first bridge in the world to use full welding for the main arch sections, turning the whole structure into one continuous mass of steel. The 6-lane roadway hangs downward from the arch through a dense web of steel cables, creating the strange feeling that the entire flow of traffic is moving across a giant steel hammock. Its most famous feature is that visitors do not only cross the bridge, but can also climb more than 300 steps along the curved steel side to stand about 328 feet above the water and look out across the city below. To keep that massive steel body stable on weak, muddy ground beside the river, engineers had to create an enormous hidden foundation system, while also allowing the structure to expand and contract with temperature without breaking itself apart. When night falls, thousands of lights running along the arch turn the cold steel into a soft, delicate, colorful ribbon of light drifting above the river. Baihetan Dam, China. The Baihetan Dam is the world's second-largest hydroelectric power station, and it also became the first project to operate 1,000-megawatt water turbines, marking a major leap for the energy industry. The dam rises about 948 feet high, yet its crest is only about 46 feet thick, using a very thin, double-curved arch design to transfer enormous water pressure into the rock walls of a narrow and deep canyon. Inside the structure is a vast underground complex large enough to house 16 of the biggest power-generating units on Earth, where rotors weighing more than 2,000 tons still run with remarkable stability. Although it was completed in a little over 5 years, with a total cost of about $32 billion and more than 10 million cubic yards of concrete, the achievement came with a heavy sacrifice, as more than 100,000 people had to leave their homes. Wulan Lake, China. In the middle of a remote desert with no paved roads and no phone signal, Ulan Lake appears like a deep red heart beating across the sand. From the air, the lake is not round, but divided into several lobes connected by white salt lines, forming a shape almost identical to a real human heart. Around the red water are thick white salt rings created by strong evaporation, where temperatures can shift from below 32 degrees Fahrenheit at night to above 104 degrees Fahrenheit in the day, cracking the surface into vein-like patterns. The water is dense with salt and algae, so it looks thick like syrup and trembles when strong winds move across it. High heat and intense reflection from the salt disturb the air above the lake, and this unstable airflow has caused many drones to crash when flying too close to the surface. Aiken Spring, China. In the middle of a dry and empty landscape, Aiken Spring appears like a giant red eye, staring at the sky, earning the nickname the Devil's Eye. The central core measures about 33 feet across, where mineral-rich water, filled with sulfur and heavy elements, constantly rises from underground and looks as if it is boiling. In reality, the water does not reach the boiling point, and the white bubbles are caused by strong underground gas pressure pushing upward from deep below the Earth's crust. Around the dark center, layers of minerals such as iron and sulfur form yellow, brick red, and brown rings that closely resemble the iris of a living eye. Because the mineral concentration is extremely high, the water becomes dangerous for birds and wild animals that approach it for drinking. The surrounding land is heavily oxidized and stained with rust colors, expanding outward to complete the image of a massive eye set in the desert. Badian Jaran Desert, China. Holding one of nature's greatest contradictions, this geological masterpiece buries human life so deeply that fewer than 100 people live scattered across a desert of nearly 18,919 square miles. The standing dunes here rise to about 1,509 feet, and when strong wind sweeps their slopes, the The whole desert can roar like thunder, which is why it is known as the world's largest field of singing sand. The strangest paradox is that beneath this dry sand lies an underground water system feeding more than 140 lakes hidden between the dunes, turning the desert into a maze of water in a sea of sand. Under harsh sunlight, the water shifts into glowing patches of jade, pink, and purple, making the desert look as if it is shining from within. Around those bright eyes lie pure white rings of crystallized salt stretching for many feet, creating the strange illusion of frozen winter inside a blazing summer. This surreal beauty is not only overwhelming, but globally recognized because Baihetan Dam was added to the UNESCO World Heritage List in 2024. Chaka Salt Lake, China. Standing on the surface of this vast mineral field, you are walking over 66 billion tons of salt, a brutal reserve large enough to supply 8 billion people for about 1,000 years. This dense mineral mass spreads across about 2,239 square miles, like dozens of major cities swallowed into one enormous basin. The astonishing part is that the salt crust is about 7 to 66 feet thick, strong enough for people to build a heavy railway and a 20-mile highway directly across the lake without any supporting pillars. In a blinding white landscape that looks like eternal snow, salt crystals grow into sharp flowers shaped like coral or pagodas. Beautiful to see, but sharp enough to cut skin if you fall on them. The mix of magnesium, lithium, and potassium under changing light creates glowing pools in bright shades from jade green to pale yellow-green. This deadly-looking kingdom is actually an open-air treasure chest beneath the sky, holding rare mineral wealth worth more than $1.5 trillion. Sidu River Bridge, China. Appearing like a brilliant yellow stroke of power, this giant suspension bridge pierces through the deep canyon as humanity's great challenge to nature. Suspended at a height of 1,550 feet, the silent, empty space beneath the bridge is so deep that it has more than enough room to swallow the Eiffel Tower, whose top still could not graze the concrete deck. To overcome the treacherous, dense forest terrain, engineers made history by firing a military rocket to pull a 3,281-foot-long cable to the opposite cliff. The strange microclimate disparity creates an absurd phenomenon where white clouds and seas of fog do not fly in the sky but roll right beneath the bridge. The empty space taking up to 10 seconds of free fall is so terrifying that drivers are always advised absolutely not to look down the canyon to avoid spatial vertigo defeating their steering wheels. Jin Mao Tower, China. Like a steel lotus rising from the ground, this pagoda tower is a perfect blend of futuristic technology and mysterious Oriental Feng Shui philosophy. With a height of 1,381 feet, the project is a hymn to prosperity, as every detail from 88 floors to the octagonal base revolves around the lucky number 8. The secret lies at the heart of the tower, where a giant atrium 499 feet high opens a mesmerizing abyss of light within the architecture. Standing in mid-air and looking into that giant kaleidoscope, you will feel the absolute silence of a timeless masterpiece. Oriental Pearl Tower, China. Like a spacecraft anchored by the historic river, this tower fascinates the world with its structure of 11 brilliant crystal spheres suspended in mid-air. Standing at 1,535 feet, the work is supported by 3 giant pillars driven deep into the earth like the steel roots of an ancient tree. The abnormality lies in the continuous pearl chain design, which helps disperse the power of fierce storms and creates an unmistakable appearance on the planet. As sunlight falls, the ruby-colored glass layers sparkle, transforming the tower into a massive luxury jewelry piece shining brilliantly in the heart of the city. The most heart-stopping experience awaits you at the glass corridor 850 feet high, where the boundary between your feet and the deep river is just an invisible crystal layer. When night comes, the LED system turns this place into a mystical lighthouse, weaving shimmering dances of color, reflecting on the drifting water surface. Port of Shanghai, China. Dubbed the heart of global trade, this deep-water megaport has reigned supreme as the world's #1 for over a decade. To welcome ocean giants, humans performed a geographical miracle by building the terminal on offshore islands 20 miles from the mainland. Covering thousands of acres, this steel shipyard is so magnificent that it is clearly visible from satellites in outer space. A bridge 20 miles long, curving like a divine dragon over fierce waves, was erected to connect this economic lifeline to the vast continent. Here, millions of colorful containers are stacked endlessly, creating a giant geometric matrix that changes its appearance every hour. When night falls, high-pressure lights transform the bright red crane forest into a sci-fi city where machines are the only residents operating the flow of humanity. Shanghai Maglev, China. Rejecting the concept of wheels and axles entirely, this is the only operating commercial high-speed magnetic levitation line on the planet. A powerful electromagnetic system lifts the entire fuselage, hovering exactly 0.4 inches above the concrete guideway, just the thickness of a phone. The train itself has no engine, as the track is the giant machine generating magnetic fields to pull it, surfing like a magnetic skateboard. With a top speed of 268 miles per hour, it accelerates from 0 to 186 miles per hour in just 2 minutes and 15 seconds, far outstripping any Formula One race car. When cornering, the concrete guideway tilts sharply, compressing passengers into their seats, just like being on a banking airplane. Despite possessing complex German technology, China took only 2.5 years to complete this project, a record that stunned Western engineers. Hukou Power Station, China. In the middle of the vast wasteland, a forest of giant mushroom-shaped concrete towers rises up to create an overwhelming and magnificent artificial skyline. This used to be the largest coal power plant on the planet, with a capacity of 6,720 megawatts, which is more powerful than the total energy of many small countries combined. In the winter, thick white steam columns roll out from the chimneys and condense into low clouds that completely hide the sky. When night falls, thousands of warning lights glow brightly, making this place look like a science fiction city reflecting on the surface of the vast wastewater lake. Finally, right next to the dark past of coal, fields of solar energy are starting to grow, painting a picture of the silent struggle between the old and the new. Sichuan-Tibet Highway, China. Likened to the world's cruelest elevator, this journey forces travelers to climb a total accumulated altitude of over 65,600 feet, equivalent to 2.5 times Mount Everest. At mountain peaks, oxygen concentration drops by half, causing car engines to lose 40% of their power, while the human brain swells in hammer-like headaches. The real nightmare manifests through 99 hairpin turns stacked like intestines, dropping nearly 6,600 feet in altitude in just a short distance. Overcoming danger, the landscape opens up to immense grasslands running endlessly, where black yak herds appear like musical notes on a giant carpet. Nature is even so magical that eternal glaciers crawl down right to the road surface, allowing you to touch million-year-old blue ice blocks. However, the harshness and deprivation here have caused many couples to break up, because only when facing endurance limits is the true nature of humans exposed. Guoliang Tunnel Road. Not carved by machinery, this route is a stone epic engraved from the blood, sweat, and iron will of 13 poor farmers. Suspended on a vertical red limestone cliff at an altitude of over 650 feet, the road looks like a magnificent crack piercing through the deep heart of the mountain. Inside the tunnel, the air is always damp and cold, with rough, uneven walls marked by every arduous manual chisel stroke over 5 long years. Rui Bridge stands out for its interwoven 3-lane structure inspired by the shape of the Rui scepter, creating a rare and complex form in modern pedestrian bridge design. From a distance, the sweeping steel lines resemble a giant DNA strand or a ribbon suspended above the valley, giving the structure a detached appearance from the ground below. Although it opened only in late 2020, the bridge quickly attracted large numbers of visitors eager to experience its unusual configuration. At the intersection of its branches, the lowest level is paved entirely with transparent, reinforced glass, allowing a direct view into a drop of several hundred feet. Under humid fog or after rainfall, the glass deck becomes slippery, requiring slow and careful movement to maintain balance. Huangchuan Glass Bridge is recognized as the longest glass bridge in the world, measuring about 1,726 feet across a karst gorge in Guangdong. Although the deck is entirely transparent, it was engineered for heavy loads, and during its opening ceremony, 2 sport utility vehicles weighing about 4 tons drove across the glass without causing damage. The main cables and towers are painted bright red, creating a strong visual contrast against the dark green vegetation clinging to limestone cliffs. The fully transparent deck can induce spatial disorientation, and some visitors experience sensations of free fall that may trigger panic reactions. Rui Bridge is the first roadway structure in history to exceed a height of 500 meters above ground, spanning a deep canyon between Yunnan and Guizhou. Its main span stretches about 2,360 feet at extreme elevation, and the drop below is so vast that a free-falling object takes more than 10 seconds to reach the water. During construction, engineers repeatedly moved the tower positions higher to avoid hidden karst caves and massive voids within the limestone foundation. The primary cable system uses high-strength steel for flexibility against wind, while the anchor pylons are cast in solid concrete to resist seismic stresses in the valley. cloud seas often engulf the canyon, making the immense steel structure appear suspended in mid-air. Completion of the bridge reduced a former 4 to 5 hour mountain journey to about 1 hour, and the actual canyon crossing now takes only minutes. With a main tower rising about 1,089 feet, Qiantang Bridge holds the tallest freestanding concrete structure ever built on a bridge. The site is also known for dense fog, where visibility can drop from about 0.6 miles to less than 16 feet in under 60 seconds, while vehicles travel at highway speed. During the summer months from June to August, moisture rising from the river forms thick cloud layers that conceal the lower structure and tower bases. Structurally, the bridge features 2 consecutive main spans of roughly 1,804 feet each, a rare double-span cable stayed configuration in mountainous terrain. Its completion reduced a former journey of more than 2.5 hours between Qiantang and Luodian to about 1 hour of driving. The Sky Bridge service area extends toward the canyon edge as an observation platform, officially rated as a national tourist site and incorporating a bridge museum and capsule hotel overlooking the gorge. Zhangjiajie River Bridge stands within a narrow limestone gorge along the Guizhou Expressway, an area known for some of the most unpredictable canyon crosswinds on the route. As wind is compressed between steep cliffs, its speed intensifies and can cause heavy vehicles to sway noticeably across the suspended span. The fog here can freeze visibility, meaning drivers may move from bright sunlight into a whiteout in about 1 second, losing sight of vehicles ahead beside a deep canyon drop. The final closure of the bridge depended entirely on natural temperature, and engineers waited until the air reached about 64 degrees Fahrenheit, so the steel expansion aligned perfectly before tightening bolts. The cable-stayed system consists of 192 heavy-duty steel cables, each bearing an average load of roughly 40 tons while supporting the deck above the valley. To complete the structure, amid layered mountainous terrain, contractors used about 62,000 tons of concrete and 800,000 large bolts to secure the steel connections. Qiantang River Bridge stands on highly unstable karst limestone terrain, where porous mountain slopes remain vulnerable to cracking and subsidence. With a main span of about 3,708 feet, it is one of the very few super-long suspension bridges built across a deep mountain canyon rather than over a sea strait or wide river mouth. Its enormous vertical clearance has made it one of the most dangerous base jumping sites in the world, where athletes confront unpredictable canyon winds and intense psychological pressure in open air. Far below, the turquoise Qiantang River winds through an untouched valley, forming a stark contrast with the massive silver-gray steel structure suspended above. Before the bridge existed, travelers had to drive down a steep, winding road to the canyon floor and then climb back up the opposite cliff, a journey that consumed hours despite the short, visible distance. During the rainy season in Guizhou, rockfall from fragile karst slopes near both approaches remains a constant and unsettling threat to vehicles entering the bridge. Located in Henan Province, China, Mount Tai is a massive limestone formation renowned for its deep gorges, multi-tiered waterfalls, and vertical cliffs. With an average elevation of around 4,265 feet above sea level, the area features a temperate climate and diverse ecosystems, home to hundreds of rare plant and animal species. Its ravines and streams form a unique hydrological network that regulates the local climate and shapes many breathtaking landforms. With its geological, ecological, and touristic significance, Mount Tai has been recognized as a UNESCO Global Geopark, drawing millions of visitors each year. Mianshan, located in Shaanxi province, stands out as a vivid natural canvas featuring sheer cliff faces and stretching deep valleys. The mountain ranges here reach about 8,400 feet in elevation, creating a majestic scene that attracts those fascinated by rugged terrain. Water cascades from nearly 330 feet high waterfalls, producing a misty white curtain and resonant sounds that echo through the mountains. Mianshan is also famed for its stone pathways built firmly along cliff edges, allowing visitors to marvel safely at the spectacular scenery. The climate remains cool year-round, with summer temperatures hovering around 64 degrees Fahrenheit, offering comfort for extended explorations. Its vegetation is abundant, with pines, ancient cypresses, and dense green shrubs covering mountain slopes, bringing vibrant color to the natural landscape. This place is not merely a tourist destination, but also highly valued for its geological and ecological significance, enriching China's natural heritage. The Tian Shan Mountains form one of the longest and most massive mountain ranges in Asia, stretching around 1,450 miles across Central Asia and Western China. Its terrain is diverse, featuring towering snow-capped peaks, deep valleys, and arid plateaus that create a dramatic contrast between ice and desert. The highest point, Peak Pabida, rises to approximately 24,300 feet and is capped with permanent snow and glaciers throughout the year. This mountain range also acts as a natural climatic divide, separating the arid desert zones to the south from the humid grasslands to the north. Positioned at the intersection of several tectonic zones, Tian Shan frequently experiences intense geological activity. The climate here shifts dramatically with elevation, with temperature differences of several dozen degrees between the foothills and the summits. Beyond its striking landscapes, the range is a vital ecological reserve, home to numerous endemic plant and animal species with remarkable adaptability. Located in the southern part of Hunan province, Mount Heng is one of China's 5 great mountains, known for its expansive primary forests and impressive terrain. With its highest peak reaching approximately 465 feet, this mountain features more than 72 connected summits, forming a ridgeline that resembles a sleeping dragon winding through southern China. The region's climate blends subtropical and temperate zones, keeping the forests constantly wrapped in mist and humidity, fostering a rich ecosystem of rare plants and wildlife. Mount Heng also holds deep cultural roots, having served as a sacred site visited by scholars, monks, and emperors throughout China's dynastic history. Its layered peaks and dense vegetation create a living ink painting carved by time and nature. Mount Qingcheng, located in Sichuan Province, China, is considered the birthplace of Chinese Taoism and one of the oldest cultural and religious mountains in Asia. At an average elevation of approximately 5,250 feet, it is surrounded year-round by dense forests and a cool, humid climate, creating a diverse and distinct ecosystem. Its winding terrain includes narrow paths between moss-covered ridges, giving travelers the impression of wandering through a naturally designed labyrinth. Stone paths snake along the mountainside, blending seamlessly with stairways carved into the cliffs, offering a vivid and ever-changing hiking experience. Beyond its natural beauty, Mount Qingcheng preserves numerous archaeological and architectural relics tied to the evolution of Taoism, making it a key destination for those studying ancient Asian culture. Standing tall in Wuxi, the Lingshan Grand Buddha is a meticulously crafted bronze statue reaching a height of 289 feet, making it one of the tallest standing Buddha statues in the world and a prominent feature against the southern China skyline. The statue's intricate details, from its gentle facial expression to the flowing drapery cascading down its body, are cast using advanced techniques, creating a magnificence that blends ancient artistry with modern grandeur as sunlight reflects off its surface. Surrounding the statue are broad stairways that guide visitors to a viewing platform, offering sweeping views of the endless mountain ranges and expansive lake below, delivering both a solemn and panoramic experience. Each detail of the Buddha was designed to convey messages of enlightenment and compassion, fostering an atmosphere that feels both sacred and approachable to visitors from around the world. Whether viewed up close or from afar, the Lingshan Grand Buddha compels anyone to pause and admire, standing as a vivid testament to the seamless fusion of art, faith, and superior craftsmanship